Orcs, known as Orzuma to academics and progressives, are a particularly strong, savage race of elves, native to the west of Tamriel. Unlike their typically elven cousins, orcs are notable for their strength of arms, endowed with great, brutish strength that they wield with little finesse, preferring heavy and hard-hitting melee weapons to the bows, blades, and sorcery of the high or wood elves. Despite being elven in name and reality, orcs are more usually associated with beast folk and goblins, especially the latter, due to their characteristically hideous features. Despite being understandably hated and feared by many denizens of the Empire, they have gradually found a place in the Imperial legions, where they have managed to attain value due to their capability as hardy, frontline soldiers. Throughout history, orcs have often had their own kingdom, named Orsinium, literally Orctown, which has, in true orc fashion, fallen as many times as the sun has set. Once populating the entire west coast of Tamriel proper, the arrival of the Regada split the orc population north and south. The northern orcs came to inhabit the Hrothgarian mountains, where Orsinium has been traditionally founded and unfounded. During the Three Banners War, Orsinium was controlled by King Curog Gro Bagrak, who owed loyalty to King Emeric. In the Third Era, another incarnation of Orsinium was officially recognized by Emperor Uriel Septim VII after Gortwag Gro Nagorn gathered enough strength to force the Emperor's hand. During the Warp in the West, Orsinium was one of the 4 city-states able to use the Numidium in order to take control of surrounding kingdoms and baronies, greatly expanding its personal territory. By the Fourth Era, however, Orsinium has once again been purged, with many orcs making their way to Skyrim, where numerous smaller tribes have set themselves up in the lower parts of the mountain ranges. Orsinium itself has moved south, being refounded in the mountains between Hammerfell and Skyrim, though it is much less than it previously was. Outside of Orsinium, orcish society centres around small stronghold settlements completely independent of external influences. The society is based on the concept of polygamy, where one male, the chieftain, an alpha in name and reality, takes all the women of the tribe as wives and is the only one permitted to have children like a true Chad. His successor is determined by whichever of his sons grows strong enough to challenge him, whereupon they kill their own father and take his place. The chieftain is the central figure of the tribe, as the favour of Malakath is entirely dependent on the strength of the chieftain. Indeed, orc society as a whole is heavily dependent on their god. All orcs, goblins, ogres, and other goblin ken are, like their master, outcasts in the world, and do things totally different to other races, including, for example, holding their weddings at midnight. Orcs obey the Code of Malagath as their law, which prohibits theft and unwarranted violence, placing heavy emphasis on honour and personal strength to resolve disputes and conflicts. Rather than imprisonment, orcs that take punishments must constitute either material or financial compensation, or a blood price, which revolves around the offender spilling their own blood until the victim is satisfied. Many orcs keep a personal book of grudges, wherein they account for all the grievances and insults that they, their family, and even their stronghold have endured, planning out their vengeance long in advance. Those that can read and write, anyway. However, not all orcs are so uniform in their belief in Malakath. Kurog's Orsinium in the Second Era claimed that they owed allegiance to Morlock rather than Malakath, who was nothing more than a Daedric prince. Though, outside of Orsinium, this view was widely rejected. Similarly, in the Third Era, Gortwag's Orsinium promoted an ideology of worshipping Trinamak rather than Malakath, believing him a purer version of the Orzuma. Again, Orsinium orcs agreed, but those in the strongholds considered this heresy. orc women are expected to contribute to the strength of the stronghold just as much as men, as warriors, hunters, and herbalists. Traditionally, the orcish art of smithing is done by the women, and a chieftain's second wife is called the forge wife for this very reason. A wise woman handles a tribe's spiritual matters and healing needs. However, despite the relevant importance of breeding females, orcish society as a whole is a strong patriarchy. All stronghold women are either the wives or daughters of chieftains, with the exception of the wise women, who are the mothers of chieftains. Daughters of the chieftain are usually traded to other strongholds to marry their chieftains, creating alliances and pacts. However, many orcs seek to escape traditional life in strongholds. Orc women may want to escape being just another wife to the chieftain. They leave to join the Imperial Legion, see the world, or otherwise seek their own fortune. Some eventually return to the strongholds, but many do not, after a taste of real civilization. Orcs who do not live in strongholds are derisively called city orcs by those that do, and are considered soft outsiders just like non-orcs. Given the history of provincial homelessness, frequent military service, and the demand for their craftsmanship, it's not surprising that orcs have travelled all around Tamriel and are now a common sight in cities throughout, like rats near sewers. Still, orcs who live in the cities with other races are likely to face prejudice, justly. Their appearance makes interbreeding with other races of Tamriel so rare that it is commonly thought impossible. However, unfortunately, it is indeed possible, with several aberrations being visible in the Legion itself.